Many years ago, in a faraway land, an old merchant lived with his son, Elias. He owned two magnificent horses of the finest breed, which he had raised with great care. One day, the old merchant said to Elias, "Son, these horses are very special. In a land where horses are rare, they could be sold for a great price. I've heard of a kingdom in the south where there's a high demand for them. If you go there, the king himself might offer you even more." Elias was thrilled. He loved traveling and seeing new places, but his father gave him a strict warning. "Always remember this," he said. "Never go west. There's a village in that direction known for its tricksters and deceivers. Outsiders who go there never return without trouble." Surprised, Elias asked, "But how can you be so sure? Have you been there, father?" The old man sighed deeply. "Yes, son, and I paid a price I'll never forget." Elias leaned in, curious. "Please tell me what happened." The merchant began. "When you were little, you had an older brother. You used to play with him. Around 15 years ago, I set off on a business journey and took him with me, hoping he'd see the world and learn from it. As we were returning home, we accidentally reached an unfamiliar place one evening. We stayed at an inn for the night. Soon, I noticed strange behavior from the locals. I realized we had entered the very village I had heard of from travelers, the village of deceivers. I knew we had to leave immediately. The next morning, while I was paying the innkeeper, his brother came crying and blaming me for a tragedy. He claimed, "My wife gave birth to a dead child, and it's all this merchant's fault." I was shocked. "Me? But I did nothing," I said. Then he told a strange story. Last evening, when this man dismounted his horse, he was breathing heavily. At that moment, a tiny bug was flying out of the inn. Because of his strong breath, it got pulled back inside and flew into the room where my wife was resting. The bug entered her nose, made her sneeze hard, and because of that, she lost the baby. I was speechless. The people around believed his tale and started shouting, "He must pay. He caused this." They surrounded me, threatened me, and in the end, they took my son from me. My heart broke. I had no choice but to leave. My poor child. He's probably still living as a servant in that village. Saying this, the old man broke down in tears. Elias comforted his father. "Don't worry, father. I promise I will never go near that cursed village." Then Elias began his journey to the southern kingdom with the two horses. After many days of travel, he reached a river. The waters were flooded and dangerous for small boats. The boatman said, "My boat can't carry your horses, but if you go west, there's a stronger boat that can help you cross." Elias hesitated. Should he really go west? He remembered his father's warning. Still, curiosity took hold. As he headed west, a strong windstorm suddenly blew in. Dust and sand filled the air. He looked for shelter, but all around was open land. Then, he saw smoke rising from a distant hill. Maybe there's a village there, he thought. He climbed the hill with great effort. As the storm began to fade, he looked down and saw a village. A strange thought crossed his mind. Have I reached that same village Father warned me about? At first, he considered turning back, but curiosity pulled him in. I've heard stories, but what is this place really like? As he leaned over the edge to get a better view, a rock slipped beneath his feet and Elias lost his balance. He rolled down the hill and landed near the village. His horses came running after him. Just then, an old man approached. He had seen Elias fall and came closer. Elias got up, brushed the dust off his clothes. Luckily, he wasn't hurt, but the old man kept staring at him. "Are you hurt, son?" the old man asked gently. Elias thought, so people in this village of deceivers can be kind too? He was about to thank the old man, but suddenly, the old man began crying loudly. Elias looked down and realized that during his fall, he had accidentally crushed a frog. The old man wept bitterly. "My dear little child, you're gone. I couldn't save you." Hearing his cries, villagers gathered quickly. They spoke in a strange language. Then, one of them turned to Elias and said, "You killed this old man's child." Elias was stunned. "What? But it was just a frog." The villagers replied, "That's not just a frog. It was his child. He raised it like a son. And now that you've killed it, you must pay the price." The villagers began to cry and wail along with the old man. Elias stood there, shocked and confused. What's going on here? He thought. It all felt like a setup. But since he was alone in a strange place, he didn't want to get into trouble. So he asked the villagers, "Is there anything I can do to ease this man's sorrow?" The old man quickly replied, "There's only one way to ease my pain. Give me one of your horses." Elias was stunned. "What? A horse? For a frog?" The old man responded seriously, "I don't understand you, boy. How can a horse be more valuable than someone's son?" The villagers supported the old man and began pressuring Elias. Left with no choice, Elias handed over one of his horses. He walked away with a heavy heart. Climbing the mountain was now even harder without a horse, so he started walking on foot, trying to find an easier path. After a while, he saw another village at the base of the mountain. Hungry and thirsty, Elias walked into the village and knocked on a door. A man with only one eye opened it. Elias politely asked, "Brother, could you spare some food for me?" The man replied, "I don't have any food, but you can drink as much water as you want." Starving, Elias decided at least water would help. He drank and thanked the man before leaving. But just as he turned to go, the one-eyed man stopped him. "Where are you from? What's your father's name?" As soon as Elias introduced himself, the man got excited. "At last I found you," he shouted, gripping Elias's arm tightly. He continued, "20 years ago, I went to your country for business, but I had terrible luck. I was robbed of everything. I knew your father and asked him for 200 gold coins. He agreed to help, but only if I gave him something in return. I had nothing, so he made me pledge one of my eyes. I had no choice. Your father promised to return after a year and give it back, but he never came. It's been 20 years. Now you must return my eye." Elias was stunned. Soon, a crowd gathered around the man, supporting his story. On the verge of tears, Elias said, "I don't know anything about this, but what do you want from me now?" The man replied coldly, "If you can't return my eye, then give me your horse as compensation." Elias was helpless. He gave up his remaining horse and walked on alone. His body ached. His heart was heavy. He was starving, exhausted, and hopeless. He finally sat under a large tree and began to cry. A young man passing by saw him and asked, "Who are you? Why are you crying?" At first, Elias didn't respond. He had grown scared of these strange people, but the young man seemed kind and kept comforting him. Eventually, Elias shared his story, how both his horses were taken by deception. The young man stayed silent for a moment, then smiled and said, "All right, let's see how we can get your horses back. Come with me to the king." Elias hesitated, but he had nothing left to lose, so he followed the young man to the royal palace. On the way, the young man coached Elias on what to say before the king. They reached the palace and presented the whole case. The king summoned the old man and the one-eyed man for a hearing. The old man repeated, "The frog that died was my adopted son. I raised him with love. I have every right to seek justice." Elias removed his turban and pulled out a frog. "Your Majesty, now I've adopted this frog as my son. I'll drop him down the mountain like I did before, and the old man can do the same. That way, justice is served." The king laughed. "Brilliant. Sounds fair to me." The old man was speechless. He had no comeback. Quietly, he returned Elias's horse and left. Next came the one-eyed man. He demanded his eye back. Elias looked at the king and said, "Your Majesty, my father had a strange habit. He collected unusual things, even human eyes. We have hundreds of eyes stored. I'm happy to return this man's eye, but I need his second eye too, so I can match the pair and find the right one." The king nodded seriously. "That sounds reasonable." Hearing this, the one-eyed man panicked. He gave the horse back immediately and said he didn't want the eye anymore. Elias and the young man walked out of the palace. The young man said, "Let me take you to the border. That way no one will bother you again." As they walked and talked, Elias noticed a special birthmark on the young man's wrist. It looked like a crescent moon, exactly like the one his long-lost brother had. Overwhelmed, Elias hugged him tightly. "Brother, I finally found you." Tears filled the young man's eyes. He explained how he had been kidnapped as a child and sold as a slave to a band of thieves. Their leader and his wife had just died, and he had been waiting for the right time to escape. After living with the thieves for so long, he had learned all their tricks and knew exactly how to deal with them. The two brothers headed south, away from the land of thieves. They sold their horses for a high price and returned home. Their father was overjoyed to see them and welcomed them with tears of happiness. After so many years, the family was together again. Elias and his brother, free from the grip of thieves and tricksters, were ready to start a new life together. Did you enjoy this story? Let us know in the comments. And if you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more amazing tales like this.